Lothar versus D2. Now, I see a trend. It seems to be the person that's on the top portion of the bracket seems to be winning, at least in the matchup head-to-head. So, based off of that trend and pattern, Numberguy is the favorite going in here, although Forsen's been playing pretty well so far. He 3-0'd Hyped, I believe, and then, I mean, he looked pretty sharp while doing it. It wasn't just an incidental 3-0 where it's like, oh, well, I drew Wild Growth every game. It was Forsen playing a variety of decks, using the format to his advantage, and I heard that he was out drinking all night, but, I mean, I believe it. But I feel like it didn't really hinder his play whatsoever.
That's not any different for Forsen. I think him not being out drinking all night,
right? That would be a concern point.
Yeah, I think I'd be really concerned for his performance, and that's usually when he struggles the most. Yeah, you were touching the top side of the bracket. The players had won every single time, but I think RNG is going to take over. I think the bottom side is going to win this game.
Yeah, I think, well, possibly. It should be the case here. We see a couple bans here, but the most important thing is what they're going to start off with. Mage versus Shaman. That is excellent for Forsen if he is Freeze Mage. You can deny the Shaman lots of ability to pressure. You have great AoE clears. The one card that could bring back the Shaman, though, is sitting in the hand of Numberguy, Lotheb. You have Lotheb with lots of pressure, and there's nothing your opponent can do because of how spell intense it is.
That is a mind control tech in Forsen's hand. That's actually a mind control tech.
Oh my God! A mind control tech against wow. Against the Shaman, card, it's really effective. But
yeah, this is a card you don't see very often. But I'm curious if it meant to be Tinkmaster instead. And he just saw a gnome and he stuck it in there. But we'll see what happens.
You think Tinkmaster would be better in a Freeze Mage than mind control tech?
I don't know. I mean, mind control tech just always seems like a funky card every time I see it. I don't really know what to think about it. I definitely don't have enough experience with the card to be able to judge one way or the other, but it's been hard to find a spot where I really want mind control tech to be in my 30-card list. So we'll see if it gets some work done in this matchup. That pink bearded gnome has got a work cut out for him for sure. Forsen's hand, no joke though.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of gasoline. That is literally gas. 349
and he's got fire
gallon.
with it too.
Yeah, 349 a gallon here in Northern California.
It's just, I think it's under 3 here in Los Angeles.
Really?
It's like 309 or something like that. So.
Not a bad rate. Okay, so
not bad at all.
A couple of decisions in front of him, but he seems to know exactly what he wants to do. I like developing Ice Block here, getting it out of the way, not having to think too much about it. Definitely want to get underneath the Lotheb.
You know, possibly on turn 5, he wants to set up a Doomsayer play. It's okay if it gets Earthshocked as well. You know, you're just baiting it out too. Plus, Earthshock can't be used to unfreeze if you use Blizzard and your opponent wants to use Earthshock to push in for damage. Frost Nova Doomsayer is the go-to.
Yep, second Frost Nova picked up too. So pretty good one. I'm curious about the merits to not using Frost Nova here, just letting him try to get through. I mean, it's like Flame Tongue Totem, I guess, is too much of a threat in that position.
Mm.
So just not what you want to happen. He's just going to Doomhammer straight away, too.
I like it. He's got Rock Biter and Lightning Bolt.
He's playing around that mind control tech is what he's doing.
Ooh, you're right.
Yeah. Man, just never totems the rest of the game.
He is so good.
Too good. Second Doomsayer. Oh, he's just going to go for it, too. Let's let it rip. It's not often you see 2 Doomsayers on the board. But when you do, it's usually because one is silenced.
He's got Hex. Second Doomhammer.
Second Doomhammer. Yes. This is just the dream, man. I want to see a Doomhammer get Panda Harrison. I want to see the second Doomhammer get Panda Harrison. That's what I want to happen one day.
Panda Harrison. Oh, man. Then just you just kill your opponent with fatigue because he drew 12 cards. Well, I guess 16 because you just play Doomhammer and you're expecting it. And
yeah, you just let
you don't even use the charges.
Yeah, you Harrison, I dare you. Oh, he's gonna mind control tech. This is so weird.
2-4.
Oh,
1-1.
I think it's the only target he didn't want to take.
Yeah, everything else would have been slightly better. What?
Whoa.
So I know you weren't happy, but
yeah,
let's not get crazy here.
I knew you were out drinking last night, but come on. That's brutal.
Hey, Honorable, if you win a tournament before Like, if you win next year's BlizzCon qualifier, you have to go in dyeing your beard pink. You have to be mind control tech.
I'll just cosplay the mind control tech.
Yes.
Engaging TC.
How many subs do we need on your Twitch channel to make that happen?
It's 712.
All right.
Yeah, that's the new sub goal. Froden, you can keep track of that one for me.
I'll have my best men working on it. So Numberguy, he's got damage in hand. He's got rock biters, lightning bolts, and the flame tongue. So right now he's got 10, 13, 17 from hand plus the 3. So he's got 20. Oh my goodness, he was 1 damage from popping his opponent. That is ridiculous.
You know, I have to say, pretty kind of a heads-up play here from Forsen too, to ping the Haunted Creeper. If his opponent just buffed it straight away and tried to attack the 1/1, it would die this way. So when he pings it, that's what he's thinking about. If he doesn't ping it, he can just attack it straight away. He doesn't have to worry about it. So thinking ahead there. I like it, but this board position looks pretty rough. I don't really know what he's going to end up doing here to climb out of this board position. He's down to 12 already. He's got an ice block developed, but he has to get some action going. His opponent's still at 30. He's facing down a ton of pressure. Flame Strike won't even clear the board right now.
Yeah, he's got 3 damage spells, and that still puts him far away from being able to kill his opponent. Fireball to remove doesn't even guarantee his ice block to be safe.
Yep. So if you Fireball Frostbolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's still face down 7 points of damage. He hasn't even really done anything at that point. Wow, this game is quickly spiraled out of control for Forsen.
Yeah, the fact that neither the Doomsayers popped, but also that Numberguy was able to push out Doomhammer really quickly.
Yep.
Way out of control here. Forsen forced to use a bunch of his removal on suboptimal targets.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. What do you think about playing the Blood Mage there?
I think, does he want to Flame Strike with the Blood Mage? Oh
gosh, well, he's not going to be able to do anything now. And
Yikes.
that Ice Block's going to get popped this turn. Yeah, this is looking this is looking pretty bad for Forsen right away. This is one of the downsides of playing Freeze Mage is you don't have a ton of interaction with your opponent's board, so if they're able to put together some damage and fend off the Doomsayers, you are at a significant disadvantage. It's more like a combo deck than it is like a control deck, to be perfectly honest.
Sure. And he's got direct damage from the hand.
Yep. I don't see him winning this game at all. Even if he develops Ice Block, he's just going to 1. He doesn't have any Ice Blocks left. He has no way to heal. He's just got nothing. So, I mean, this extends the game another turn, but can he actually win after this?
Not if his opponent can continue to do damage straight from the hand. Because now he can bypass Ice Block 2 turns in or Ice Barrier 2 turns in a row. Even if he froze an Ice Barrier, he can just push through with Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, no, not even a reason to play anything either. Ice Lance not going to do it. Flame Strike not going to do it. Haunted Creeper's still going to be on the board. Sludge Belcher is still not going to do it.
I think he has to Pyro
even if
Blast
he manages to kill us, I mean, he could play Deathwing right here and still lose the game. So
I think Pyro Blast your own face is the only course of action.
well played.
Man, don't die to a Spectral Spider. Don't let it happen for us and go out with dignity. Paint yourself. You know what to do. Oh, man.
He's not going to go for it.
He's actually going to try to stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, he might as well try. There's no reason not to because if his opponent just doesn't have any burn. But it's pretty unlikely facing down a Shaman deck. They don't have a way to deal you. A measly 1 point of damage. Fire Elemental going to finish it off, of course. Flexing those big muscles. I've never seen Fire have a 6-pack, but it's definitely the way to get it done there. Number 2 taking a really quick game 1 here. And frankly, I kind of like burning out the mage right here. I don't think it's very strong versus I'm sorry. I actually think Shaman's the only deck's not really strong against, but I think with this kind of lineup, you would anticipate your opponent not letting Shaman because you have Warlock and because you have Warrior, so you would think he wants to kind of anchor that maybe to run into one of those 2 matchups, and I think Numberguy just kind of maybe next leveled him a little bit here.
I personally like the mage against the rogue as well, so maybe
yeah, I mean, I think it's really good versus the other 2 matchups. and I think it's like not the best versus Shaman. Like I think versus old Shaman, Mage was really good because Shaman didn't apply very much pressure. But now Shaman's like really board centric and like trying to just beat you up as quickly as possible. So, but Shaman, like I think in Forsen's mind that Numberguy wants to save Shaman for the Warlock and for the Warrior deck, and so he didn't think he would lead with it, and that's why he led with Mage. And it just, I think it just kind of bites him.
Yeah, I think so. Numberguy up 1-0, which is still a best of 5. If he wins this, he's guaranteed top 3, which is already in the money. So this is a nice match here. It's still not over by any means. Forsen has the Warrior and his other classes remaining. I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it was a Rogue, but I think that was Numberguy had. Oh, he had Warlock, of course.
Yeah, that was the other 2 classes going in. So Numberguy, again, 1-0 lead. Very quick one. Don't know if he's swapping. We haven't got any word on that. This tournament, again, it's for those of you who are just joining us, it's a little bit different than a traditional ban tournament. This is a 4-deck best of 5 with a single ban. But the winning player can actually choose to swap to any of their decks that are still unlocked. So that makes a big difference. We've seen Forsen and Lothar so far really use that to big effect in D2 as well. And he's not going to swap. He's going to stick with Shaman. I can't blame him, but I think Shaman's really good versus both these matchups. He knows he's playing against Handlock. And Forsen, he's got Jiraxis in there and he's got Sylvanas, so a couple of tools to help fight this off, but still not sure how favorable this matchup is. I cannot imagine Numberguy's going to mulligan Hex. And
no, if you know it's Handlock, you have to keep the Hex. In fact, it keeps everything. It keeps Dewhammer and Rockbiter.
Yep. I mean, you can't blame there. That's 16 points of damage.
16 points of damage, 5 mana.
Just beat him up. I keep Doomhammer every single time.
5 mana, 16 damage.
It's too much, man. How do you deal? That's like better than Pyroblast.
It is better than Pyroblast. Forsen does have the Twilight Drake into Sludge Belcher, so the curve fits. Now it's all about crossing your fingers, hope to die, or you'll have an alternative play of going Kalento routes, which is avoiding your opponent's matching. Like you would play not the Twilight Drake, you'd play like the Ancient Watcher instead, and then play the Sludge Belcher to try to bait out an Urshock before you go for the Twilight Drake. That's like what Kalento does in matchups where it's difficult.
Yeah, I think with this hand, he's just got to go with Twilight Drake. You just gotta hope he doesn't have Urshock. I mean, that's really the gamble here. Like, does he have Urshock or does he not? And when your opponent keeps their whole hand, you're not like thrilled to play Twilight Drake here, but it could just show that he has a really good curve. And like, I mean, he did see the Haunted Creeper out of the opening, so he could just be interpreting it as a really strong curve. I don't think Numberguy wants to hex this straight away, so he's gonna take it slow. Definitely can't blame him for that.
Oh, he's got Lightning Bolt with spell power. Nice. But he used up a lot of his resources already.
Yep. Very vulnerable to Hellfire here, but Forsen just doesn't have it right now. So good news for him. He does have a draw to pick it up. Instead, it's a second Twilight Drake. He needs to silence that Flame Tongue Totem. That thing is menacing at the moment. Pulling 4 points of power off the board. With a little 2-1. I think it's a good deal.
I think so. You still have some really strong cards.
Fighter.
16 damage.
That is a lot of damage.
If he didn't use his Lightning Bolt earlier too, that would have been compounded. Man, that's such an insane amount of burst from the Shaman.
Yep. Let me ask you this question. Okay, so you just Feral Spirited. Does one of these tokens run into the Earthenring Farseer here ever?
Oh, to make sure to hedge your bets against Hellfire.
Like, let's just say he had double Mortal Coil or something weird.
That's an interesting thought for sure. But double Mortal Coil is not that common, so I think
this is another reason too. By the way,
okay with
is if your opponent plays Sludge Belcher here, now you can't attack the Earthenring Farseer, so it's going to kill your other Feral Spirit.
Sure.
That might have been a little bit quick of a play. He's got the Hex, but do you really want to Hex a Sludge Belcher? I never feel good about it. I always feel bad hexing a Sludge Belcher.
It's not as bad as you think, man.
Maybe it's not.
It's not as bad as you think. It's of course not preferable, but A lot of times you're not trying to value and overpower your opponent. You're trying to find small nooks where you can burst your opponent down with Doomhammer or Alakir, because that's how you win. Handlock wins in the War of Attrition, especially now that Jiraxis is in the rotation.
19 points of damage available this turn. Doomhammer, double Rockbiter. I think you should just... I mean, it's hard to say to not go for it, honestly. Like, your opponent would have to have a second heal.
Right, and you have a Fire Elemental.
Yeah, see, I think when you do it this way, it kind of alarms your opponent. They're like, yeah, maybe I need to heal up now, or taunt up, or something like that. Well, but goodness if he doesn't taunt up.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a Mountain Giant. That's gonna be real tough.
Nice.
Yeah, it'd be real tough to not taunt up these two. Start getting some work done.
Do you feel like there's any reason to taunt up an Ancient Watcher instead?
I mean, there might be, but I guess to play around Earthshock, I think your opponent rips Earthshock here. It feels pretty bad, but so I think long term this is probably a little bit better, just in case your opponent draws Earthshock. I mean, he's not too deep into his deck, but there's still like a 10% chance he draws it, so it's like that's not a good feeling. And then you're getting value out of your Ancient this way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is a sizable board for the Handlock player. Like, this is a point where you have to be really cautious not to get killed in 2 turns and lose your entire board. Did he bite off more than he could chew? No, it didn't even matter. It's not like killing off your opponent's health did anything. It was just a Mountain Giant.
Yeah. Had he just gone for face, it might have been a little bit more than he could.
That's true, right? If he just went for double Doomhammer to the face, but then of course we see double Molten Giant heal.
Yeah, it would have been some pretty bad news. I mean, you still have some outs after that, like a Lightning Bolt will kill him, Lava Burst, those sorts of things. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's a good play.
Unfortunately, he can't use everything. Like, he can't Rockbiter and like, he could use 1 Rockbiter and Fire Elemental if he had 7 mana.
Instead, he's gonna have to take some damage.
Ooh,
yeah,
this game's not pretty.
This game's gonna get interesting. Hellfire.
Hell yes, if you're Forsen.
Yeah, but he's gonna look over that. That draw changes so much about what he can do this turn. I mean, he can clear his opponent's board and drop 2 Molten Giants if he wants to.
Do you feel like it's safer just to Siphon Soul and clear systematically and position yourself to kill him next turn?
Safe is a relative term. I think it's probably a better play. Wow.
That is a lot of taunts. You Hellfire and then you put up 2 free Molten Giants. Oh, wait. Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like,
Drunk Forsen almost came out here.
That could be bad. 10 is not like the safest life total, but wow, that is a lot of power on the board.
Oh, baby, a double.
Yeah. He needs something right here, right now. I don't know what it is, but it better be like Twisting Nether. And instead, it's Lava Burst. Oh my gosh! He would have drawn the Lava Burst to kill him.
That's right. If he went for Rockbiters in the previous turn.
Yeah, he might have died before that, actually, because the Moltens would have come out too. Yeah, that would have been. I don't think he would have won this game. I
think you gotta go out gloriously though. You double Rockbiter and you kill off both these Molten Giants.
Instead, he's just gonna concede. That's a bad feeling to be facing down the old 30 points of damage on your opponent's board going into your turn 9. And really well played Handlock, Abe. He drew pretty well, but I think he sequenced it right. And a little bit lucky to not see Earthshock on your opponent's side of the board, but that's the Handlock game sometimes. You just gotta drop those Twilight Drakes and hope things work out right.
Absolutely. Now the series has evened up. Shaman's gone, which was a problematic class for both of your remaining Warrior and Warlock classes. Numberguy has Miracle Rogue, and he has his Handlock as well. I want to put a person here as the favorite, but I feel like there's too many this counters this in a rock paper scissors format, where it really comes down to who can win Handlock versus Handlock. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I still would give a little bit of an edge to Forsen. I think that Warrior Warlock's going to match up a little bit better against this Warlock Rogue. And I don't think it's a bad idea to switch decks here if you're forcing.
Sure.
So I can see it going either way, though. I mean, I'm okay with playing the Handlock Mirror, which is kind of like a who's who. We saw you as Sylvanas, so that might be enough to give him an edge.
The problem is that the Warrior has 2 less favorable matchups against Miracle Rogue. Well,
right.
It depends on how he feels against Numberguy, but Miracle Rogue and then Handlock can be very problematic early on as well.
Yep. A lot of it's going to come down to the draws in this game, too. Like, Handlock Mirrors are very oftentimes decided by Mountain Giant. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes it goes really long, and you get Jiraxis versus Jiraxis, and you're worried about Shadow Flames, and you don't quite have enough mana to do everything. You're always 1 mana off lethal, and the game can get really crazy from there. But I think we're ready to get into game 2. I'm sorry, game 3. It's a 1-1 count right now.
That's right. Going down to a best of 3 now, from best of 5.
Yep.
Can Forsen continue a comeback rally, or will Numberguy be able to take a very decisive lead? In fact, I feel like this is already game 5 implications. If Numberguy can win this, he can just be in a position 3-1.
For sure. Ragnaros is another big card in this matchup. It really helps tilt the mirror in your favor. Mountain Giant for Forsen, Twilight Drake for Numberguy. I think given these openers, it's a little bit of an edge to Forsen, but we'll see what happens. Still plenty of draws on both sides.
It's true. Generally speaking, in the Handlock Mirror, I feel like the person who goes first, they get out the threats first, and it's just, the person in the back has to always be reactive, and unless there's a big Shadow Flame swing turn, it feels like you're always fighting from behind.
Speaking of Shadow Flame, now both of these players have it. Something I see a lot of people do in this matchup that I'm not a big fan of is they coin out Twilight Drake, and it's just a 4/8 when you do that. And I think it's wrong. Like, I think it's slightly worse than just waiting. Mm-hmm. You do develop it sooner, but I'm not sure how much of a difference that makes. Like right now, he's got Ironbeak Owl to threaten against Twilight Drake, so he's not too worried about it. And he's also got Mountain Giant if he wants it. So now the Ironbeak Owl's out of the question. But now you're. Oh my gosh, he discarded the other Twilight Drake.
Yep. That.
Oh my gosh, he picks up Owl Mortal Coil. That was a really nice draw. Mm-hmm. I think Forsen's out to a really big lead now.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
That is ridiculous. His Earthing Ring Farseer has slayed a Twilight Drake. And of course, the Ironbeak Owl. Like, you realize that an owl and an orc killed off like 2 mighty drakes with a Hadouken. That was pretty much the only combination needed to disarm 2 of the biggest threats in this entire deck.
Hit him with a downright fierce.
Yeah.
That's the fast one too.
Oh man.
Did you ever play Street Fighter very competitively?
Not competitively, but I've had my fair share of playing it.
I was really bad against people who threw the slow fireballs.
Oh,
I was always like, why would you throw a slow one? And they just always beat me. I could never win.
That's right. The mix-ups.
Yeah.
The only
matchup I ever won was Dawson versus Guile.
Oh, you're a Dawson player. Ugh.
It's only because everyone
just jump. You just
everyone
jump that.
everyone in Houston played Guile, man. I had to do it.
Well, I guess so. That's the only way you can reach. Sludge Belcher, an excellent card normally, but when your opponent has this much initiative on you, I mean, the nice thing is that there is stuff for Numberguy to do, right? He has Shadow Flame, and if things get tight, he can use the Molten Giant. But Forsen's in such a dominant position.
Yeah. I'd be hard-pressed to not see Mountain Giant come down this turn. Now, here's a question. Do you silence this Sludge Belcher? Because that 1/2, like, I mean, is it really that much of a threat? I feel like you can just not worry about it, right? The second silence, I feel like, is worth a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
Even though your opponent's lost their other Drake, I still feel like the silence is worth a lot. Because you can still activate your own Watcher with this.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, is now the time you want to activate your Watcher? I don't mind it, but...
Those are tough questions.
Yeah, I don't like this. I mean, now the Owl's effectively dealing... You could have just activated your Watcher and done the same thing, except you'd have an active Watcher. And now he doesn't have any Owls left for his Watcher.
But he's got Taunters, just not yet. And it's also Shadow Flame potential.
Yeah. Well, he'd have 18 points of damage had he done it the other way.
Yeah.
So
this
Siphon...
is Siphon number 2, right?
Is that number 2?
I want to say the first Mountain Giant was siphoned as well.
Okay.
While we were, talking about Dawson versus Guile. Oh man.
Still a pretty significant advantage over to Forsen, I'd say. He's got an extra Twilight Drake. He's still got 2 copies of Siphon Soul. He's just now using his coin. And he's going to heal up that Drake. That makes a lot of sense, too. And just start the push. So he's got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's got 17 damage next turn. Numberguy at 16 points of health. He's got to do something to get out of this position. And none of his plays look too exciting right now. 2, 4, 10 Drakes. How often do you see that in this matchup? This is brutal.
Not even Shadow Flame on a Giant clears the board.
Yeah.
Mortal Coil to draw for better options.
Needs something big.
Ironbeak Owl.
Yeah, he just uses Mortal Coil, though.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, this is brutal. Ragnaros can't even, hit the right target here.
So, if you silence a Drake in Shadow Flame 1, then there's just the 4/10 left. Do you feel comfortable with that?
You can also silence your Watcher and crash into the 3/3.
True that.
Yeah. I don't think Ragnaros is a reasonable option. He might just taunt up here too. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing Ancient Watcher and just Defender of Argusing them.
Sure. But then you open yourself up to a Shadow Flame.
Sure. I think it's a risk you got to take though. At this point, you're so far behind, you have to figure out a way to recover the board. Oh, he was even thinking about Shadow Flame. You saw he wanted to attack the Ancient Watcher there. He was thinking about it.
Yeah.
But in the end, I don't think it matters much. It's just any Shadow Flame, it's fine.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
How much damage
Hang
is
on.
this? If the Drakes can hit face, and there's double Shadow Soulfire, there's 16. But is there a way around this otherwise? I don't think
in this
so.
position, I don't think so. So
yeah,
it looks like
he's 1 mana off, right?
Yep.
If he had the opportunity to Shadow Flame with Siphon Soul,
yeah,
he could have pushed for a win.
For sure.
All right. Maybe he draw to Hellfire. No, you don't have enough mana to do that. Either Hellfire, Shadow Flame. Power Overwhelming, is it?
I don't know if Power Overwhelming is in his deck. I know a lot of that combo's been cut.
Sure.
At this point, you're for certain going to see a Shadow Flame here. Now, here's an interesting question: is how much does he want to press for damage? Because if he puts his opponent too low, Molten Giants become a threat. So I think it's pretty reasonable to see him often not attack here. This is a deliberate not attack, by the way. It's not that he missed this.
Nice.
Jiraxis, so if he can manage to fend off this board position, he's got a recovery tool.
Forsen also has 2 Siphon Souls. So whatever threat gets popped down, this Molten Giant, Forsen has that. In fact, wait.
Okay, so he Soulfires first because he has 2 Shadow Flames. So he doesn't want to discard his Jiraxis. That's what he doesn't want to do right now. That's the reason he made it in this order. Okay. But Forsen's got 2 Sludge Belchers, and then after that, he's also got 2 Siphon Souls to back this up. I think you would drop both the Sludge Belchers here. Maximum pressure on your opponent. This is a tough spot to come back from if you're a Numberguy.
Forsen's got pairs of everything. Let's see.
Yeah, so much threatens lethal here. I think this is a Ragnaros Sun Fury turn.
But you see no Siphon Souls from your opponent.
Oh,
You'd
my
rather
goodness.
just have the Mountain Giant.
Yeah, he's going to go for Mountain Giant. And this is potentially lethal.
Right. The Law of
Yeah, he's still
Soulfire.
got to fade the Soulfire. We saw that Lothar discarded a Soulfire earlier in this tournament. He had a 75% chance to win, so he's going to use Life Tap. And now look at this. He's going to Soulfire first.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That is disastrous. This game went from winning this turn to not winning this turn. It's going to put his opponent down to 2, so no Hellfires available, no Life Taps available. He's got to be working off what he has in his hand right now.
Unbelievable.
And even this might not be enough.
The Law of Soulfire.
He needed to draw Jiraxis, so he could discard Jiraxis to it instead.
There's no way you... Is there anything else besides Jiraxis? Like if you go for
I think
taunt and heals?
I think I don't necessarily think if those plays are better, but they're certainly options. I think the problem with not playing Jiraxis here is that you have to start getting value out of your hero power. So the Eredar Lord of the Burning Legion is going to hit the board, and I would be astonished if one of these sludge belchers doesn't get killed this turn. But you are taking an extra point of damage that way. At least for the one turn you are.
Man, Forsen cannot be happy about the second Soulfire. Just because now he can't play Molten Giants for a while. He's too high of a health. And he's got 2 dead cards that are just sitting there.
Yep.
And his hand's so clunky otherwise. He's got 2 cards that he can't fit in with each other. Just awkward. Maybe Lotheb can lock it out.
Yeah. Doesn't have Ragnaros, but Lotheb is still a pretty darn good one right here. Wow, Numberguy down to 8.
Does he need to rag taunt? No, he can still heal up and play Lotheb.
Yep. Giant's never getting played, by the way.
Or taunt up, rather. That makes sense.
Not quite lethal yet. Certainly stringing some stuff together.
Sylvanas gives him ability to impact the board.
You might want to think about your positioning here because that Defender of Argus is really critical right now. All right, so he doesn't want his Sylvanas to get taunted. Wow. I'm very surprised by that.
That is interesting, too. But
why doesn't he want this taunted? Oh, you know what? He wants to avoid Faceless Manipulator. That is literally what he's doing. Because if his opponent Faceless Manipulators his Sylvanas, then he's got an issue.
Right, because then he can't push through it.
Yeah. Very heads-up play.
Can Numberguy survive yet another turn?
Well, let's take a look at what he's got. So, he's facing down pretty much 7 points of damage that he can't deal with this turn. Is there any way around that?
If he Hellfires, he kills off his entire board. I don't know.
You might just have to Faceless Manipulate at the Sludge Belcher and just kind of hope for the best.
Also heal while you're at it. The Farseer.
Yeah, I think if you did that, you would definitely drop the Farseer. You'd probably run your 2/3 into a 6/1. Would you rather taunt the Sludge Belcher or would you rather taunt the Infernal? As far as from the Faceless Manipulator copy. I don't know, but he's got to make something happen.
I think the Sludge Belcher's 2 life does make a big difference. You saw 2 owls. And that can be a difference between getting that last bits of damage. Remember, Forsen has the Hellfire in hand. He just needs to hit the face with one of these creatures.
Yep. He's going to taunt up his other Infernal. And that could be the difference. Down to 6. Forsen draws Faceless Manipulator. I'm pretty sure that is lethal, by the way.
Yeah. The Hellfire in the Mortal Coil allows him to push through.
And that's going to do it.
A game 3 win for Forsen. Nice. Nice, dude.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
I just want to point out, Numberguy's dead and Molten Giant still costs 3 mana. At the end. Because that Draxus. Yeah.
That is really funny.
You're not dead enough.
Well, Forsen is now in a pretty good spot because there's Miracle Rogue remaining for Numberguy. What a crucial win. But, of course, it's not over. Numberguy defeated Hit Girl's Handlock deck with Miracle, and that was the deciding game as well.
Yep. Pretty tough battle now, I think, from Numberguy. He's got Rogue to go up against Handlock. And then even if he beats Handlock, he's still got to beat Warrior. So in this position now, this is something we saw earlier where players were swapping to other decks to try to get a little bit more information about their opponent's deck, and then maybe even just try to pick off a free win. Do you think that there's merit to Forsen to swap to Warrior here and then anchor Handlock?
It depends what Forsen was doing in this free time. Was he watching Numberguy and studying his deck, or was he hanging out with Leah, chatting her up and pioneering more adventures? What was Forsen doing in his free time? We don't know.
Nobody knows. It's a mystery.
I don't know if I want to know. Not sure if I want to know, Nate.
In a world where one man is pioneering new adventures. Forsen, rated R.
Must be accompanied by a legal parent guardian or something. Absolutely. Forsen would be rated R.
Yeah, I'd go see it.
Coming to a theater near you.
I'd definitely go see it. He's gonna stick with Handlock.
Man,
He's
where's
got no
my
time
voice
for
changer
games.
when I need it? I need to do some trailer commentary for Forsen. One man, one brotherhood, and a whole lot of snooze this winter.
I'd seriously go see that movie. Just be him like walking around town drinking for like 3 hours. I'd still go watch it.
Start it. Indiegogo, Forsen documentary.
I'm gonna start a Kickstarter for that. Who wants to support me?
I will. I'll be your first and only donor.
We can have like a Kickstarter package where like if you hit like the threshold, you can star in the movie with Forsen.
Gosh, everyone already does just by being in a Twitch chat.
Yeah.
Pretty much the documentary of Forsen's life is him reading his donations.
I just got a $100,000 donation for the movie from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
By the way, Forsen has no 4-drop. This is not a good start, and his opponent has pretty much everything that he would possibly need. Ugh.
You know, something he does have, though,
good.
is Lotheb. He kept Lotheb in his opening hand. And,
True.
Obviously, he believes this is an extremely key card in this matchup, and who doesn't? This is a card that, since Naxxramas got spoiled, even before it came out, people were already building deck lists with Lotheb in it, specifically for this matchup. And Numberguy, showing straight away that he knows what he needs to do in this matchup. This is something I've seen a lot of very strong players do. They play a 3/3 minion, get no effect from its battle cry, or from its combo effect, or whatever you want to call it, and they just push from there. The repetitive damage is how you end up getting the lead on this deck. And Forsen, very aware of that right away. Hellfire's just a 3/3 because he knows he needs to get it off the board. But look at Numberguy's turn 4 Auctioneer Prep Conceal. This is this is the miracle hand, right?
Yes. Oh man, that is true.
That
Twilight
Lotheb.
Drake.
And that is exactly why he kept Lotheb, is for this situation. Just a 2/2 Edwin Van Cleef. This is sort of what I was talking about too. These players understanding that you just have to get value out of stuff. He's not going to have time to play Edwin Van Cleef later on in this game. He's got another Auctioneer in his hand. He's got 2 saps. He just literally wants to press for damage. That 2/2 being on the board not only threatens Lotheb when Lotheb crashes into this. If Lotheb crashes into the Gadgetzan Auctioneer, but it also just puts a minion on the board. That's just really what he needs.
That's right. That Ancient Watcher was a nice pickup too. Now he Shadow Flame that, immediately pressing for damage. He realizes his best way to win is to force his opponent to use a lot of removal here. And that has to be good for Forsen, because now he sees that his opponent couldn't deal with the Lotheb here without taking more damage. Wow, Lotheb doing so much work.
Yep. 2 pair with an Auctioneer Kicker, though, is not a bad hand. Especially going into 7 mana. Silence on to Blood Mage, trying to deny as many cards as he can.
Wow, Forsen is trying to finish this game so fast.
Look at both of these players playing so fast, too. This is certainly going to be a sap coming on to this Twilight Drake. I cannot imagine not sapping this. You need that 4/4 body.
Absolutely. Well, sapping the Drake, stalls for time, which is good. There wasn't even a taunt on that creature. It's what,
Look at this.
I mean, that's not what you want to see, but that's something that you're more happy to see versus if you dropped the taunt earlier.
Numberguy really valuing the body on the board. He actually chooses to use a 3-point dagger on the owl instead of the silenced Blood Mage to pick it off.
Yeah, it's a cold blood target, isn't it?
Yep, there's Soulfire. Discards a Siphon Soul. Not the best discard for Forsen, I would say here.
Wait,
everything
best
in his hand
Sylvanas?
is good. Yeah, probably Sylvanas.
At least he didn't discard a second Soulfire, because that could be his reach to maybe end the game.
For sure.
Numberguy on potentially a lot of draws. Again, he saved these shivs. He saved the shivs, potentially get a lot of draws, or even his reach damage without spell power.
Yep.
The shivs are just tickles.
Doesn't want to use the second sap here because if he uses the second sap, then he can't push through any taunts. So it's really important to him right now to not be using this sap if he can avoid it. Yeah, he's actually just going to shift face. Picks up a Blade Fury.
He's got some pretty good damage. Problem is, He needs to also survive. Does he have to sap the Drake again?
I don't think so. I think he needs to save the sap. I really do. Because he's got to just make this push for lethal, which is this the turn he's going to start doing it. So 8 points of damage is going to crash across here. And then he's got the Blade Flurry and hope that the Gadgetzan Auctioneer is going to be able to pick. Oh, never mind. He's actually just going to kill his opponent's minion.
Oh. Wow. Did he misclick there?
Now, that is a really good question because that looked like a misclick to me.
Oh, no. That could have costed him the series.
Yeah, that seems like a kind of a suspect play. But who knows? Maybe he can still pull out of this. But gosh, he needed that extra damage. Look, he probably would have picked it up too. I guess he's fearing Mortal Coil to some degree. Maybe another Hellfire, Shadow Flame. Sap's going to have to get used. A lot of cards getting picked up, though.
The pace of the game has moved so fast that I can't even think about how the play was supposed to look other than just saving it, going to face it, and going for Blade Flurry. Yeah. But there's no justification in my mind for what just happened. I think Numberguy realizes, too, that that was a mess up.
Yep.
Giant. I mean, your opponent just used second sap. You can go for your own miracle, Forsen, but I think the Giant's a little bit better.
Yeah, you got to play the Giant here.
I think you go.
You taunt them both up. Taunts. Yep, and then you Soulfire this Auctioneer. That's the second Auctioneer gone.
All right, whatever.
I think he's delighted to not discard his Faceless Manipulator here as well. And in this position, I'm sorry to say it, but I don't think Numberguy's coming back from this.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and there's the spams.
Waking up. 2-turn lethal is like coffee in the morning for this Swedish fella.
Oh, what a show.
Oh, man.
Forsen should be penalized for his beat. Someone start a Reddit thread right now.
Absolutely not. I will single-handedly assemble my Chanman army to downvote all of you who make those threads against Forsen. I dare you.
I'd downvote him too, I'm not gonna lie. I love the BM. I think it should absolutely be a part of this game. It's just like mule dropping in StarCraft.
Yes, but in StarCraft, I can understand because people pour their blood, sweat, tears, and it's all about the speed and mechanics, and in the end, one guy bests each other. But it's a card game. When it's a card game, you have to rub in the RNG and the draws. That's just how you win. That's the difference between a champion and just a guy who's good, right? The good and the best. The difference is how you flaunt your wins.
Yep.
Every single time.
I agree. 100%. Yep.
Oh, man. Well, Numberguy can't really do much. He hopes that he's not going to die based off this last heal.
Well, he's not dead yet. Forsen picked up Sludge Belcher. Here's do you taunt the Sludge Belcher or do you taunt? I guess he's just going to taunt the 8/5.
Right. He just used Blade Flurry.
Yeah.
There's no reason
and that's 8 to the face. Oh, gosh. Just the crash from Mountain Giant is so satisfying. It is like absolutely the best feeling in the world. Oh, picks up another Earthen
Forsen.
So hang on a second. He can actually clear both of these Giants right now, play Loatheb, and heal himself out of range of lethal.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he's got another turn here. I mean, he's out of cards, and I don't know what he can draw, but he's not dead.
Right. Mr. Forsen, tear down this wall.
Oh, and there's a heal.
Yes.
I think you heal that. I think you heal that Ancient Watcher. Wow. Look at that.
He is taking every option off the board. It's just down to a top deck battle. And I think the quality of Handlock's top decks are much better than the Miracles independently.
Yep, I have to agree with you.
That's gonna do it.
Wow,
Forsen goes to the Winners Grand Finals, or the Winners Finals, excuse me, before he gets a ticket to the Grand Finals, perhaps. Guarantee himself top 3. He's in the money. Wow, well done.
I have to 100% agree with you. Handlock is something that he picked up after his follies with Zoo. He just never ever won with Zoo because his Soulfire always discard Doomguard, and then when he didn't draw Soulfire to discard his Doomguard to it, he just never drew Doomguard. So he just kind of gave up the deck and started going Handlock. I can't blame him either. I think Handlock's a great deck.
Man.
I've hated on it a lot in the past, but I think Sludge Belcher really revived the potency of that deck. where before it was kind of niche, and now it's just a strong deck. The only thing you're really worried about is Hunters. So in ban formats, you can take that out of the lineup, and then you have one of the best decks in the format. I can't blame him for playing it, and it's tough to find someone who plays it better.
Well done by Forsen, and he's starting to really pick up his results, which is good because people were saying, you know, maybe Forsen doesn't bring the best decks or he's too much a crowd pleaser, but he's been practicing with Savitz, Seat Story Cup 2 champion, and he's been doing pretty well for himself. So he is our first winner through to the guaranteed spot in the top 3. And we'll have Lothar versus D2 coming up in just a few minutes, guys. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.